And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Bubba and the Bloom, episode 238. Coming at you on a Tuesday, which means it's BloomBoard time. We're talking some live BloomBoards here. Part of the give you a little peek behind the curtain to what the Patreon folks get. Along with that, we got some news and some normal witty, or at least banter. I don't know if it's witty banter, but we'll have banter along the way as well. Before we get to that, you can follow me on Twitter at BDNtrick, the podcast at Bubba Bloom Pod, and on Patreon at patreon.com/Bubba Bloom. And my co-host, as always, on Twitter at RyanBHQ. Ryan Bloomfield, how we doing, my friend?
We're doing pretty good, man. Had one of these things happen today where, like signs in life for like once a year, you see something and like it reminds you of something, like March Madness, Masters commercials in the spring, leaves changing colors in the fall. Today, there's my phone going off with Yankees home run notifications, and that marked the season debut of Kyle Gibson.
Yep. Welcome back, buddy.
Yeah. The sky is blue. March Madness is in the spring, and Kyle Gibson returns and gives up dongs. So that was ugly. But, a lot of home runs on Thursday.
A lot of home runs.
Whatever day it is.
Did his best Nestor Cortez impression. So that was good.
Yeah. And Bowden Francis did his best Kyle Gibson impression, much to your delight.
About damn time. I've been waiting for that Bowden Francis blow up for a while, and the Red Sox took him to Ding Dong City, one might say, in Toronto. So that was a good one. Hopefully, the Maple Leafs fans are not watching the game and watching hockey instead, because it was a brutal one for you boys if you're a Jays fan. That's all I know. Because Red Sox could have said a lot of other things. We'll stick with Ding Dong City on this one.
Giants are 1 out away from losing, so that'll bring you back down this evening, as I'm sure
because somehow Lamont Wade Jr. is still hitting in this lineup.
Out to third.
My mind, Lamont Wade Jr. just hot garbage. But just get me going, Ryan. Get me going. I did take a picture of a tweet today. I wanted to wait on air to share with you because I figured you'd appreciate this, and it kind of goes hand in hand with the Kyle Gibson situation. So today at AAA Norfolk, Trevor Rogers allowed four runs and 3 walks in an inning and 2/3. He's ready. Mid-season form, might say. It somehow ended up on my timeline, so I had to share that.
You pitched better than Kyle Gibson.
Yeah, true. He did pitch better than Kyle Gibson.
That's brutal. That's you're throwing me off my game with a Trevor Rogers shout out at the beginning of a show. Jesus.
Yep. I thought of you when I saw that. I'm like, we got to talk some Trevor Rogers real quick to bring down any dismay that I might have from the Giants. Just watching Logan Webb get BABIP to death. That was a brutal situation on Thursday.
What year was I'm still haunted by Trevor Rogers. What the hell year was that? Was that 2020? Must have been 22. Yeah, 2021. Trevor Rogers had 2.64 ERA rookie season, 133 innings. 2022, 5.47 ERA, 150 WHIP, 107. Oh, I remember all of that. God, thanks, man. That's good stuff.
Just a little trip down memory lane. Glad I could help.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Flustered now. What's our topic today? Where am I? What day is it?
Where are you? Yeah, we just want to throw that little nugget out there to see where it goes. But we will be talking live BloomBoards, the Hitters Edition, here on the show. But before we get to that, and let's talk a little bit of news. Let's pivot here. Let's talk a little bit of news before we get to the BloomBoard, which we should have a lot of insight on. A couple things here. Tyler Glasnow goes to the IL with a shoulder inflammation situation. Originally, when he left his start, people thought it was the forearm. After the game, he said the shoulder because he's been altering his mechanics to try not to hurt the elbow. Here we are. He's going to be shut down for a week or so before getting reevaluated. So what's your thoughts on Glasnow?
I don't really have any thoughts. We kind of think everyone knew this was coming. Even folks who drafted Glasnow, you weren't depending on a full season of innings. What I'm fascinated to see is how this Dodgers rotation, how is this going to end?
Yes.
It's April 29th. They have 3 to 4 starting pitchers.
On roster resource, they have 3 pitchers at the moment.
Right. 4 would be Gonsolin. But 3 of those, so 3 of those, fit. I mean, Gonsolin's the fourth. Yamamoto.
Gonsolin's returning. Gonsolin's returning Wednesday. His first start since TJ in 2023. So yes.
Right. Like Sasaki's no beacon of health. Dustin May, we all know the injury stuff. Like even the ones that are still standing for the Dodgers. Like, dude, this could be like, give this 2 more months. I don't know what they're going to do. Not that I feel bad for them, but it's brutal. Look at it. Dude, the YouTube, like if you're just listening to the podcast version of this, you just miss like the biggest smirk I've ever seen on Bubba's face. See, this is a happy man. That's I don't know. Fantasy wise, like Glass, now you're holding them until you have more information, of course. But like, man, Dodgers, it's going to be fascinating to see how they do this.
Yes, it's going to be fascinating indeed to see how they do this. Very much looking forward to see. Like Ben Kasparius might get stretched out. That'll be someone to keep an eye on along the way, and we will talk about him next week on the live BloomBoards as he is near the top of a leaderboard over there right now. But yeah, they might be making some moves. And early in the season, Sandy was on the list. I don't think Sandy's on the list anymore. So we'll see who the Dodgers try to go after next.
You mean not on the list anymore? Oh, because he's not pitching well?
Yeah, they just destroyed him tonight. I just add to the list of
That's
everyone
true.
that's destroyed Sandy. Yeah.
They got an upfront scouting report on
Yep.
Sandy.
Yeah. Quick analysis. He doesn't have it. Next. All right. Baltimore Orioles, Jordan Westberg to the IL with a hamstring injury. They say it's minor. He's been banged up with a bunch of injuries lately. Emmanuel Rivera was recalled. Ramon Urias should get all the playing time while Westberg is out. Westberg has struggled a ton to start the year here. So where are you at on this one, Ryan? Because I know you're a Westberg guy. Like the struggles comboed with the injuries. How you feeling?
I actually, so I wrote up Jordan Westberg for like a hidden injury column for Baseball HQ that comes out on the Speculator on Wednesday, because we had talked about Westberg and how like we're pretty concerned. This report couple weeks ago that came out that like Westberg's upper body injury or something is going to require like regular maintenance going forward. I actually, maybe I'm just being way too optimistic. This IL stint might not be the worst thing in the world for Jordan Westberg, who I think was playing hurt even before this. And now as a hamstring, just take the time, get right. You're holding Jordan Westberg. Maybe he can come out of the other end healthy and good to go, because Jordan Westberg, I mean, we know what he can do. He has the skills to do it. So I don't, yes, obviously it hurts that Jordan Westberg is on the IL, but it might not be the worst thing in the world for him to get a reset. I also don't know why the Orioles aren't calling up Kobe Mayo, but that's probably a different topic for another day. Ramon Urias he ain't it. He ain't it, folks.
They've always loved your Ramon Urias, though, and I'm with you. I think this is actually I think it's a good thing for Westberg. I think he could use the break for sure to kind of get right, I guess would be the way to go about it. To me, and this is just pure speculation for someone that stares at news too often, I feel like Kobe Mayo's not getting the call because it's a short-term IL stint. That's kind of my hunch. We'll see. Could be totally wrong. Maybe just could be the Orioles being the Orioles here. We'll see. But yeah, I think this is a good thing for Westberg. Hopefully it's the minimal stint. Hopefully he can get right. We'll see. And hopefully we see Kobe Mayo in due time. And this is not a topic we have to discuss, but just for listeners, keep an eye on Heston Kjerstad. It is horrific right now. Just going to point that out as well. All right. Speaking of the outfield in Baltimore, Tyler O'Neill heads to the IL with a neck injury, something that's been bothering him for a little while. Numbers are down once again this season. Where are you at on Ton, who's having a bad season?
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Ton is like you would expect some production when he's healthy, and that hasn't been there. So I don't know. This is kind of another one of those rites of passage throughout the season. Gibson getting blown up, the Masters in the spring, and Tyler O'Neill going to the IL. So it's just things that happen every year. That's all I got. What are we looking at for fill-ins? Willie Abreu, he's been playing anyways. Rafael
why will you
center?
Wrong team.
Oh shit! God damn it! Again, not on the Red Sox anymore.
It's going to be Kjerstad's out there.
It's got to be Kjerstad. Yeah, it's got to be Kjerstad.
But it's Ramon Laureano. It's Ramon Laureano. It's getting the playing time.
Yeah, even against
Dylan Carlson.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Dylan Carlson got called up. Ramon Laureano should get the regular playing time, which doesn't move the needle for me.
No. It does, like in draft and holds, but you can't do anything about it now.
Yeah. All right. I'm just going to say what I need to say here and then just leave the floor to you. Logan Gilbert left his last start. Looked pretty nasty. They're saying it's not too bad. He's going to be shut down for 2 weeks and get reevaluated. To me, that still sounds bad. I think at best it's a month, probably 4 to 6 weeks at best. What are your thoughts?
I'm depressed. Remember, I came on Friday night on the playback stream just to I think that's when it broke. Actually,
it happened live as you were here. Yes, and then you finished your IPA on your front porch, and
I gave
you
up
went to go
baseball.
tuck your kids in. You went to go tuck your kids in, and probably cried as you read Curious George or something. I don't know, but it probably didn't end well.
We read
Daddy,
some baseball.
why are you crying? Don't worry about it, kids.
Read some baseball kids book and cried myself to sleep on Friday night. So that was beautiful. No, man, it's rough. Like, I have been touting Logan Gilbert. He looked I thought Logan Gilbert could be the overall SP1. I said that multiple times this draft season, and that's no longer going to be the case. It's like, I just thought this guy was the perfect blend of skills, volume, and age. And I don't want to say this is like an example of just anybody could get hurt. Logan Gilbert was on that infamous top 10 velocity chart from 2024. Like, the velocity was there. That's probably the only thing you could look at and nitpick. But no, this is absolutely brutal. I actually have one team with Kirby and Gilbert on it, and that's pretty much done now, I think.
Yeah,
because Gilbert's, you talked about like outage and stuff like that, but like, you got to hold him as long as you can. But it's gonna be, you hate it's just very nebulous, the timeline, because I don't think they really know what's going on.
We're not going to know anything until they reevaluate in 2 weeks. That's just the bottom line. We'll have no clue, and it could be like, oh wow, he's actually way better than we thought, or it's oh shit. It's bad. Those are your 10 and 2 scenarios. Like, you could get the Blake Snell treatment where he's basically done until like All-Star break, probably a drop. Like, just real quick, because it's not on the outline, but I talked about it on Breakfast with Bubba. Would you drop Blake Snell in a non-IL league knowing he's probably not back till beginning of July at best?
I mean, he'd be near my list of, like, if I had Gilbert and Blake Snell and I had a couple other injured guys, I would drop Snell before Gilbert. I know that's not what you asked me, but in politician form, I answered a different question, but something like that. Like, Snell is inching near the top. You can't just hold every injured guy, even if they're good, because you only have 7 bench spots in these non-IL leagues and NFBC leagues. So it's easy to say hold, but you can't do that. Like, I'm hesitant. I know Kirby's coming back, but like this OC where I have Kirby and Gilbert, it's like, I also have Royce Lewis, Stevenson. I know they're coming back, but it's like, you can't hold all these guys and field a team.
Well, you're lucky, because the latest news is Stevenson is expected back hopefully either this weekend or beginning next week. He's going to play Tuesday and Wednesday and get reevaluated. Royce Lewis played DH in a doubleheader at AAA today. He's going to play the field on Wednesday. And then he could return this weekend, but the Twins are hinting at early next week. So you get both of them back, barring a setback, of course. And then George Kirby faced 2 single-A hitters in live pitching today and said he felt great afterwards.
Yeah, I saw that. 2 hitters. It's good. Probably not just one at bat each, but
I wanted to emphasize the hitter part as well. I'm like, let's put the whole thing into context for a second. But yeah, I just wanted to ask you, because like Grayson Rodriguez, we kept saying drop. Well, Blake Snell's in that Grayson Rodriguez time frame now. It's a little different than what was once perceived.
And Logan Gilbert could get there. It's just going to be a couple weeks. So you have to find out.
We'll find out in a couple weeks and see where it goes. And also, for anybody that's joining the prayer circle tomorrow when Christopher Sanchez takes the mound, let's hope that's the best, because I still don't feel good about that one at all. Garrett Mitchell to the IL with an oblique injury. They're saying it's a minimal stint on the IL. Time will tell. He has not been great, given he was starting to run a little more before he went on the IL. Wasn't doing a whole lot else, but he was running more, at least being somewhat productive for fantasy. But he hits the IL, and he was pretty much already a drop for me in most formats, and that kind of solidified it.
Yeah, I'm surprised you put this on the outline, actually. But
hey, if I'm going to give you the bumps, I'm going to take my bumps too. It's okay.
Yeah, you're a good man. Yeah, I got nothing. I don't think you hold Garrett Mitchell. I don't think you can for very long. He wasn't good. He got hurt, as predicted by some.
All right, this one dropped today. Dylan Moore, who's been really good. We've been talking about him a lot lately. It's been one of your guys. Dylan Moore heads to the IL with I'm trying to get the exact I think it's hamstring,
hip.
if I remember correctly.
I think it was a hip.
Oh,
something like
he
that.
tweaked his abductor last week, so he's got that going for him. Yeah, they're calling it a right hip inflammation, retroactive to the 26th. Samad Taylor was recalled from AAA. What's your thoughts on this Dylan Moore situation? Obviously, his legs are hurting. That does not bode well for the overall skill set.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. The Mariners weren't playing Dylan Moore anyway, so
So
it's just
Miles
like
Mastrobuoni, like, what the hell are we doing?
Yeah, it's I'll get off my Dylan Moore high horse, but it was frustrating. Dylan Moore is I think very cuttable, even if it is minimum. It's just someone that's hard to hold if you don't have to. But yeah, like the combo of the vaunted combo of Miles Mastrobuoni and William and Mary's Ben Williamson, like
who I picked up in Fab this past week.
Oh God, you did?
15-team league quarter
Virginia
infield,
boy.
Baby.
Let's go. All right.
Yep, couple shares.
I mean, he's okay. He's not bad.
In a 15, he's being quite serviceable, honestly. Like, all things considered.
Yes. Oh,
he hasn't shown any type of stealing, but he's not giving you empty stats either. Like when you have Matt Mervis playing corner infield, Ben Williamson's actually an upgrade, sadly enough, at this point in time.
Ben Williamson, I'm not giving you enough credit. 26% owned in main events. So yeah, third base is brutal.
It's called being a sharp. I did want to mention though, Samad Taylor got called up in this mix. I just want to mention him because I wrote him up in a PT Tomorrow recently when Polanco was like DH only. God, is he crushing everything right now? But as a potential second base guy for Seattle, because Samad plays, he's like super utility, like more. He plays the outfield, can play all over the infield. But Taylor's hitting 321 this year with 5 homers and 6 steals. Definitely a guy to keep an eye on if he were to get some playing time. Just gonna throw that out there. Don't just brush over him right now. It seems like things are locked in Seattle, but Taylor's another one. Like Seattle's got this boring group of young players like that last year just kind of all sucked when they got called up. They're all playing really well at AAA right now. Like Samad's only 26. They're all mid-20s, so maybe they're still developing. That's my point. It's like we were all excited about Samad last year and he sucked. Don't throw it off completely this year if you get some playing time. That's all I want to throw out there.
So. Yeah, I don't see it being any more than like a platoon with Luke Raley. I think got scratched today, so maybe it's more than that. Who knows?
Point. That's my point. So. Keep an eye if he gets regular at bats. This could be a guy at least in deeper formats that becomes slightly interesting. Last but not least, Shota Imanaga left his start on Tuesday, but I just want to let listeners know it is apparently cramps, which I believe is the second time now this season that Shota has left with cramps in his legs while pitching. I know Zach Gallen has. There's been a handful of pitchers that have actually been leaving with cramps this season in their legs. I'm not too worried about this. Just want to throw that out there if anybody was, worried about said situation.
Back off the ledge.
Yep. All right, Mr. Bloomfield, let's do it. This is what everybody's waiting for. Live hitter BloomBoards. What do we have tonight?
Not sure about everyone, but
no one wants to hear me talk about boring, depressing news the whole night. We need something fun.
Samad Taylor talk, as TDK in the chat says, real deep Seattle AAA talk. It's good stuff.
Hey, TDK, when you need these players, don't come calling me. Okay?
No stone unturned. Bubba's diving deep into Seattle
AL
minor
West,
leaguers.
No, it's the AL West PT Tomorrow stuff. I have to know way too much about these players.
And I'm thinking Tyler O'Neill still plays on the Red Sox. So that's where we're at with all this. So, all right. The main event of tonight's show is live BloomBoards. And so what this is actually a Google Sheet that's available for our Patreon subscribers. If you're interested in this and want to support the show, this is available updates every single day throughout the season. But this is basically like BloomBoards on steroids. We've got this Google Sheet of 5 tabs: team level, year-to-date hitters, last 30-day hitters, year-to-date pitchers, and last 30-day pitchers. And again, this is a little bit more visual for the YouTube crowd. I've got these pre-built BloomBoards that we'll update every single day. Just things that I like to look at kind of throughout the season, look at who's trending, who's rising, who's falling, and that sort of thing. So that's what this is. If you subscribe to the Patreon, you will have access to this and can pull it up whenever you want to. What we're going to focus on tonight is just one of these tabs. We're going to talk about year-to-date hitters. And I think what we'll do kind of throughout, maybe on a monthly cadence, something like that, we'll look at the last 30 tabs for hitters and pitchers just to keep that finger on the pulse of who's rising, who's falling, that sort of thing. But you can see little bubbles at the top of this Google sheet. People are actually in here and can play with this to their heart's content. So it's my little plug for one of the tools that we have available as part of joining up on the Patreon. So yeah, what we want to do tonight, I'm going to zoom in on the year-to-date hitters tab. We've got 3 boards. The first one is the best skills by strikeout rate, barrel rate, and stolen base attempt rate that are under 50% rostered in NFBC 12 teamers. We've got skills risers and fallers with strikeout and barrel rates, and then the legendary homer to barrel board on the right. So I will let you kind of steer this wayward ship here, Bubba. We can kind of just touch on a few players in each board or however we want to do it. But that's the general gist of the show tonight, is focusing on those 3 year-to-date hitter boards.
Yeah, we'll dive in, do 10 or so minutes on each board and navigate through all of this right now. But when Ryan mentioned best skills, we were talking before the show, is like looking at the hitters year-to-date best skills in the pitchers tab. It is a really good indicator. It almost matches up to like our fab list every week, if that makes sense to people. Like we talk about lower owned players, or at least gives you an idea of players to target. Like we'll talk about these players, but when you have like Ty France, Andrew Vaughn, maybe not, but maybe there's something there by looking at the skill set. Tim Tawa, who was a big guy, Eric Wagaman has been popular of late, so on and so forth. There are names that stand out, and the pitching one really stood out to me that we'll talk about next week as an option as well. So let's just start at the top. I got to give you the floor here because there's 3 French flags next to his name, and that is Ty France, who is 9% rostered in the NFBC OCs, but the skills have been really, really good, man. Like I can't hate on it a lot. I actually picked him up recently. We hit a home run on Tuesday, 14% K rate and a 13% barrel rate. It's one of those things with Ty France. I think we've even said it in the past. Like I remember when he went to Cincinnati last year, and we were all picking him up because the skill sets. He has his times where he flashes it. It just hasn't been able to put it together for a full season in a long time. But so far for the first month, Ryan, that's all we can ask for. He's been pretty darn productive.
He has been, and I don't think the power is going to stay this hot, like that double-digit barrel rate for Ty France. I don't know if he's done that throughout his career, but 2024, in my opinion, was a little bit of an outlier for Ty France. And you could kind of say, okay, he's aging, getting old. I mean, that was your kind of thing against France, is he's just old and not good anymore. But there is,
you support the olds, so I'm just throwing that out there. I usually support the olds.
You did support like Carlos Santana. You have your olds. We just have different olds, I guess. Ty France was my old. But no, this is good stuff. I mean, this is Ty France lowering the strikeout rate up to an elite level, powering it up. It's actually interesting. Ty France might be on our homer to barrel faller list as well. He has 11 barrels to 2 home runs. And typically what you would do is kind of take your barrels divided by 2 and add a little more to get home runs. So like Ty France probably should have like 6-ish home runs. Like you said, he hit his 3rd homer tonight, plays every single day. He's one of the few Twins who has been able to stay healthy this season. So I just think the combination of, we just talked about how bad third base is. Like you picked up Ben Williamson. I hope you consider Ty France over Ben Williamson. France was probably already rostered in 15.
Doesn't play third base.
You need an actual third baseman, not corner.
In a couple of leagues, I dropped Matt Shaw and company. So yeah, it's been a rough few weeks. It's been a rough few weeks in Bubba's corner infield situations.
But yeah, the Ty France 14% K and 13% barrel. Those are elite skills. They're not going to stay that way, I don't think, especially the power. But I mean, he pops as the most skilled player under 50% rostered in OCs.
I like it. One thing that are always great about BloomBoards, like I haven't said it yet, but I say it pretty much every time we look at a BloomBoard. What I love about them, besides just keeping them simple, the color coding, all that, is it gives us a reason to dive in on a player and wonder what the heck's going on.
Yep.
And Andrew Vaughn being second on this list stands out tremendously to me because I've dropped him in 12s. I've seen him dropped in 15s. His roster rate is extremely small across a lot of formats. Just like looking at OCs right now, Andrew Vaughn is still, like you have right there, the roster rate. Why do you even have to check it? It's right in front of me like a genius. 46%. But what we're seeing here, the skill set, a 21% K rate and a 16% barrel rate. The barrel rate is outstanding. That barrel rate for Andrew Vaughn is by far the best of his career. He had a 10.9% barrel rate in 2021. So that is like really, really good. He has 13 barrels to go with 3 home runs. So, he's not horrible. You'd expect more. He's got the 51.2% hard hit rate, too. So now we're diving in on Andrew Vaughn. But like I mentioned, so many people have dropped him, Ryan, because he's hitting a $167 with those 3 home runs. Only 11 RBIs. That's because he's not hitting plus the team context. The White Sox are garbage. But the thing with Andrew Vaughn in the past, which made a lot of us, at least myself, interested in Vaughn as a corner infielder late or even a deep league first base if you screw up, he's going to hit like 250 and hit you 20 homers, and you can live with that in certain formats. He's not showing that. But my point, long-windedly, this chart makes me look at him and go, he's actually hitting the ball better than he's ever hit it in his career. He's just not getting the results, which looks at that cool little number called BABIP, which is 169, which he's like way below normal. So sorry if I took any of your thunder, but that's like when I saw that name, it stood out to me in a big way. And that's one of the reasons why I love looking at these boards on a day-to-day basis, because that stood out tremendously as maybe let's spec if I need first base or corner infield in certain leagues on an Andrew Vaughn for cheap. Sorry.
Right. That's I think what people see in Andrew Vaughn. You look at, every Sunday or whatever, your drop list, ad list, whatever you're trying to do, and you see a 157 batting average, 3 home runs, because on your whatever NFBC or whatever platform you play on, when you're looking at free agents, it's usually not showing the skills, it's showing the results. You're like, oh, Andrew Vaughn has been garbage, but it is the double whammy of, like you said, 13 barrels on 3 home runs. He's actually making a ton of hard contact. And that 169 BABIP is absolutely brutal. So Andrew Vaughn, the results haven't been there. The team context is going to stay terrible. But I think just a serviceable corner outfield who has kind of sneakily been better than the results would show that you kind of pull up and look on your Fab page every Sunday.
For sure. All right, let's jump to Eric Wagaman here. It's the guy we talked about in Fab last week because he's getting a ton of playing time with Miami. He had like an 8 or 9 game hitting streak going with Miami, so it kind of deserved some of the discussion in 15s. But in 12s, he's 39% roster. So that number has gone up over the last week, which checks out. She's showcasing a 15% K rate, a 9% barrel rate. He's got your wonderful 5% stolen base attempt percentage as well. But when you look at Eric Wagaman, Ryan, are you interested in what you see, or should you be skeptical of what you're seeing? What's your takeaway here?
This one I'm a little skeptical. You need to take, just like with everything we say, small sample. It has been only 1 month of baseball, so skills can fluctuate just like results can. Eric Wagaman, I think both things can be true, that Eric Wagaman has shown pretty good skills so far, but he's also a 27-year-old journeyman who I pull up his Baseball HQ prospect report and rating and all that, and it's very much not impressive. And so, like, yes, while these guys can come up and improve and yada yada, that's kind of one of the things you say oftentimes, Bubba, especially when like comparing like preseason projections for some of these prospects. But like Wagaman hasn't really been a prospect. I think for this, with only 1 month, for Wagaman a little bit less because he hasn't been full time every day since opening day, I don't think. But I trust the scouting report a little more than the like year-to-date skills, which have been good. But I just think this kind of at some point flames out.
Yeah, it could flame out. Maybe it does. I think the regression's fair, but like a couple of things I'll point out. If we do talk BABIP, it's 278, which is, even throughout the minors, he was a high, close around 300, give or take. So a little bump, maybe, potentially. But like last year, between AA and AAA, 17 homers, 10 steals at 274. That was somewhat productive. He had his moments with the Angels in a small sample. I remember I was made fun of for recommending him in Fab. So that was one as well. I don't forget. So when I see this little blurb, it excites me with him. So there's 2 things. Like, I get it. Yes, maybe be a little skeptical. We have not seen it with him. He's been in the minor leagues since 2017. So that's quite the run.
Yeah. That's my thing. It's like I mean, the guy, he's almost 28. Like,
but that means he came straight out of high school. So development does it wasn't like he was a college draft pick. He was a high school draft pick. So like development wise, things can change. Yes. I'm not saying it's going to be great, but the improved skill sets, I think you need to say like, okay, half of this is really cool and could sustain. Half of it, let's be skeptical. I wouldn't throw it all. I wouldn't throw the baby out with the bathwater type thing on this one. And if they're going to give him every day at bats in Miami, I think it's valid. I think it's worth checking in on, at least in deeper formats. So,
and I think maybe the broader takeaway too with this, maybe if we can kind of combine a take that maybe satisfies both of us, is the playing time's there right now. He's hitting well right now. Grab Wagaman while this is happening, but I think have a very, very quick to cut bait if it stops quickly, because I think it will. But
that is very fair. I will totally agree with that one. All right, Max Muncy at the bottom looking atrocious. That checks out. So these are very accurate BloomBoards. I like seeing that.
Well, that doesn't mean he's like the worst. If I scroll all the way bottom, that means he's like, how many players are on this? He is the 30th participation trophy. Max Muncy is the 30th best skilled player under.
Oh, like how you see phrasing, folks. Phrasing is what that's called.
He gets a little trophy, number 30.
I want to highlight Josh Bell because similar to Andrew Vaughn, Josh Bell is having a horrible start to the season. Right now, Josh Bell is a 21% K rate, 9% barrel, 5% stolen base attempt rate, hitting a $140 on the season, but he's got that BABIP issue as well. I won't take all of the talking points on this one, Ryan, but when you look at Josh Bell, should we be buying into Josh Bell, or is there some changes that maybe concern you more as well?
I mean, another kind of both things can be true thing. Like Josh Bell should improve, right? Obviously, he will improve given the 134 BABIP, whatever. He'll be better than hitting 140 with 4 home runs. But I think the same thing can be true that like I still don't think the ceiling for Josh Bell is much higher than like Ty France or Andrew Vaughn. So like I'd rather just go for those two guys than Josh Bell. So I don't know. I'm not that excited about Bell. Like, yes, he's been super unlucky, but also like the skills are fine. Like if you just look at the color coding on Bell with the K rate, the barrel rate, and I don't even want to talk about stolen bases with Josh Bell. He did attempt a steal, I guess, which is
on the board.
Crazy. Those are just kind of league average type skills. Yeah, I guess.
I mean, Nationals. Sorry, Nationals. They run.
Nationals. They just run, but. Yeah, I'm not that interested in Josh Bell.
All right, the last name we're going to go on this board, and we'll move on. I just want to give you another shout here. The playing time hasn't been consistent because of the platoons. The production's been good and bad, but Jake Freilley checks out really well on this board. 18% strikeout rate, 6% barrel. You'd hope for more, of course, but he's also running a lot, 26% stolen base attempts. So when you look at the Freilley situation here, the skill set, what are you taking away from this?
Yeah, I like it. I like the contact's been soft with Freilley for quite a while, but I think if he just the fact that he's been able to barrel up a couple balls in that park, like at least shows that there's still some thump left. It's great to see that in green, right? These are all color coded. That stolen base attempt rate at 26%. That means basically 1 out of every 4 times Freilley's on first, he is trying to steal. So has a green light, making contact with at least some pop. The thing you need to, the reason why Jake Freilley's 14% rostered is a strict platoon. So you do need to use the weekly planner available on the Patreon to see when Cincinnati is facing a bunch of righties, and then use Freilley then. But that's something that this board isn't going to capture, because I can't have a million different things, data points on here. But this is a platoon guy, so treat Freilley as such.
Yep, good call. So I want to bring that one up there. All right, let's look to the skills, risers, and fallers board. Ryan, do you want to preface anything else here before we dig in?
Yeah, we'll preface this out. So this will be the top 15 risers and the bottom 15 fallers. So this isn't all good. We want to see the good and the bad, because I think that's important for these BloomBoards. But basically what we're doing here is we're comparing the change in strikeout rate and barrel rate. So again, strikeout rate, how often are you making contact? Barrel rate, how often are you making hard contact? and I've got on the list, I got 2024 versus 2025 rates. The 2025 rates, for more emphasis, are color coded, so you can kind of see instantly what is good, what is bad for both the K rate and the barrel rate. So these are the guys whose skills have improved the most. It's not just necessarily the best strikeout and barrel rates, because like Aaron Judge is elite every year, but it's really the guys who have improved or fallen back the most from last season. That's how this list is ordered.
Yeah, your boy Ty France is on the board. He went from a 21% K rate to 14%, 7% barrel to 13%, right, which is pretty good. It's good seeing Torque on the list. 28% K rate's almost the same, but that barrel rate going from 7 to 18% is pretty much supporting all of the gains we're seeing at the plate with Torque.
And that's why Torque's on this list. It's like you don't have to improve in both a ton. It's just that, how much are you gaining total? In Torque's case, like he's almost tripled his barrel rate so far, so making a lot harder contact, but he's also doing it while not striking out more. So it's like that's also a really good thing. If you make a lot harder contact and you're not selling out or striking out more for it, that's why Spencer Torkelson is number 4 on this list. So it just kind of validates the power that we've seen from Torque. What a freaking turnaround, man. Left for dead when Detroit signed Glaber, right? And Colt Keith was going to be the everyday first baseman. And Torque has rectified things and is looking very good on this board because the power has pretty much come back. That's the other thing with Torkelson. And when we say this is a start of a deeper dive with some of these guys, Torkelson has the prospect pedigree. He's actually done this before in the majors, right? He had that second half of 2023, I want to say, where he was just an elite power bat. And there's definitely a chance he could get back to that. Just looking at this board and that uptick in barrel rate for Torkelson.
There's good old Jorge Polanco.
Yes.
Lowered his K rate from 29% to 12%, that's pretty darn good to begin with. That's like really, really good. And then 9 to 16% barrel rate, 2 more home runs. And I've got 9 home runs on the season already. The dude's just putting up ungodly numbers, but to your strikeout, he actually lowered it to 11.4% after tonight's game. It's just he's doing things that I did not expect a 31-year-old Jorge Polanco to do. And do I expect it to last all season? Not a chance. No. But ride this wave while you can.
Ride the wave while you can. And it's not like Polanco hasn't done this before. He does have that 2021 season where he hit 33 homers with the Twins, hit 269. Like, obviously, that's a career year outlier type thing. But, like, can Jorge Polanco go 25 homers, something like that, even in that park? It could happen. So yeah, I think it's very fitting to see Jorge Polanco number 1 as the biggest improver in strikeout and barrel rate, because like you said, just not striking out at all and hitting for really good power at the same time. Like when you can do those things at the same time, something good is happening.
I just want to highlight the fact that on this board, what did you say? There's 15 are the top risers?
Yeah, 15 risers, 15 fallers.
4 of the risers are Seattle Mariners, and their offense sucks.
Yeah, that's a little harsh. It's a little harsh. The last part.
Les, Moore, okay, they're it's average at best.
It has been very good. I actually, so let me flip over to the teams tab very quick, Bubba. And look at that. Seattle Mariners in green, 125 WRC plus as a team.
See,
they have been.
I just put it on a T for you. They'll let you go.
They have not sucked. They sucked early and then they stopped. And then all stopped.
Great American helps that out for sure.
That is true. That is true. They are hitting, but it is, that is crazy. So who are the 4 Mariners? Polanco,
Telez,
Rowdy,
and Raleigh. Yep.
Yeah, former Mariner, France. Surprised I didn't say he was a Mariner. But no, that's impressive.
And you got a couple of Red Sox on here as well. So that's like Devers, all things considered, 23% barrel rate after that shoulder issue. That's pretty strong to see.
Good. Yep, that's a good point. Even though Devers is striking out a little bit more, the almost doubling of his power of his barrel rate, which who would have seen that coming with the shoulder problems with Devers? That is why Devers is up on this list right now. James Wood, real quick too.
Yes, that's who I had highlighted. So go for it.
Okay. Just number 5 on the list. Again, just second year, like being able to, and it didn't start that great for James Wood, but being able to basically hold his strikeout rate, but also hit for a lot of power. And there's still even more like untapped. Like it's still a 60% ground ball rate for James Wood, which is crazy to have hit that many ground balls, yet still have 1 out of every 5 balls you hit be a barrel. Like that is gargantuan raw power. And I think the biggest thing, because like with James Wood, the strikeout rate from last year, 29%, that's on the verge of like not being so hot. If that gets worse in year 2, suddenly James Wood, that's a very low batting average floor. Just James Wood being able to at least improve upon that a little bit and hit for more power is in year 2 is very interesting to me.
Yep, he was one of my FOMO guys that I made sure to get in my last draft, and thanks, sweet baby Jesus, I got something to enjoy there because he's been great. It seems the hype train is there, and that barrel rate, like you said, with the 60% ground ball rate, just imagine where that could be. Just imagine what that could be, and if he's a 50% ground ball guy, that's pretty crazy stuff to think about right there.
Yep.
All right, let's talk about a guy that we've been getting a ton of questions recently about fab ad drops and whatnot. That's Christopher Morel. Strikeout rate's gone from 26% to a dreaded 40%. That is really, really bad. But he's also raised his barrel rate from 10% to 26%. Like I know we've been talking about it to people that ask us in our chats and whatnot. They're like, hey, he's actually starting to hit the ball. Like try to be patient. Yes. There could be a platoon in the works, then an injury happens. Now guys are coming back. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But he's hitting 256 with 3 homers, 2 stolen bases. The K rate is very bad. There's no hiding that. But that barrel rate is ridiculous, not sustainable, but still very, very good. And it's just tough to – and his ground ball rate's way down compared to previous seasons, which could be why the barrel rate has gone up. But where are you at on this Christopher Morel? Because I keep holding him – knowing what the ceiling can be, even though the floor can be bad. And the floor isn't bad right now.
But it still could be very bad. Like,
oh, yeah.
Because, dude, like, because you see how,
pen.
I mean, obviously, you know, a 40% K rate is bad, but that is like extreme red on this sheet. And so, like, it is kind of a catch-22, right? That what this model's showing is that, like, a 13% jump in barrel rate is more important than a 13% jump in K rate. And that, I think that checks out. Like, I'd rather just have hit the ball much harder, much more frequently. But a 40% K rate is like, dude, Morel's hitting 256 right now. It's a 425 BABIP. 425.
You know what's crazy is his XBA is 255.
that doesn't. Yeah, that is crazy. I don't know if that checks out.
It made no sense. So I looked at it. I looked at it too before. Like I was like, wait, and like his X slug it's regularly 449 to 525. His X WOBA 366 compared to the 340. Like they're saying he's underachieving with that BABIP and that K rate, which is I don't know how all those X stats accumulate. I know a lot of people think they're useless. I think they can at least help tell a story potentially. I'm not saying they're go-tos, but the fact that they are basically saying he's kind of underachieving is even crazier to me.
Yeah. I agreed. I think this does show the kind of the dichotomy of Christopher Morel is like, I don't think a 40% K rate holds either, but like the floor is very low for Christopher Morel if he strikes out 40% of the time. So I don't know. I still don't really know what to do with him. I'm still holding. I definitely have Morel on my 15s. I think I still have him on some 12s because I'm just kind of waiting.
Yeah, I haven't dropped him anywhere. He's been kind of more benched for me than anything else. And I'm waiting. The biggest concern I have is he was starting to get platooned before a couple injuries. Now they got guys coming back pretty soon. Like, how does that play out for Christopher Morel? Because like if he's a platoon bat, we are hosed on that one. That'd be my biggest concern. And then goes Andy Pages completing the freaking home combo meal, baby. Just absolutely locked in the Tout Wars dub for the week right there. Watch out, everybody. All right, a couple on the fallers side of this board for those that give any rear end about that. So Michael Toglia.
What the hell?
Michael Toglia.
The guy at the bottom, we should care.
Juan Sodto, there you go. 17% K rate dropped to 15%, but the barrel rate's gone from 20% to 6%. And like I get it. Some people have asked questions about Sodto in recent weeks. And I keep saying just trust the back of the baseball card. He's healthy. As long as he's healthy, trust the back of the card. I still believe that. I don't not believe that. But it is interesting to see that barrel rate drop so much. Like he's always been double digits. The lowest he's been before this year was 10.1 in his rookie year, 11.3. He was 13% in 2023. This is dreadfully low for him. But his hard hit rate's still almost 51%. So thoughts?
Hitting the ball on the ground 58% of the time, Juan Sodto. I think that's pretty much why. But no, I'm not looking too much into this. We know who Juan Sodto is. I think this is one trap that actually is out there with these BloomBoards looking at things a month into the season. Juan Sodto will be just fine. I'm not worried.
Yep. I'm with you there. I was only joking about Toglia. We know he's not that good at baseball. A few others,
but like it's not. I mean, it's a 9% barrel rate is basically league average for Toglia, and that's what it's been. Like you paid up for the power and a little bit of speed. You knew the batting average wasn't going to be there, and then like it's not. But to see the power fall back to league average for Toglia is no bueno.
Yep, that does not do it, man. All right, a few others on this list, like Shohei's on this list because his barrel rate dropped from 21 to 16. So do with that what you wish. He went deep on Tuesday. Not too concerned there. Conforto, another Dodgers on this list. If that does anything for you,
here's your guy. There's Lamont Wade.
Yeah, he should be on this board. He should. I'm surprised he has a 4% barrel rate. Honestly, I'm surprised he has a 4% barrel rate.
I put him in bold there just for you.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks a lot, buddy. Ryan McMahon's on this list, upped his carry to 35%. He lowered his barrel rate to 7%. He's been dreadful. He's been a drop in most formats. So that checks out. It's like one of those where I look at the board, I'm like, yep, that's validating. That's a thing. I don't really have a whole lot to say about most of these guys because it kind of checks out in my mind. But I guess everyone that was concerned about Danny Jansen, wondering why he's struggling, while he's striking out 6% more and has a 2% barrel rate.
Yeah. And that's probably one of the more concerning ones for me because Danny Jansen, we know he's going to get hurt at some point, but you thought you were rostering him for production while he's healthy. And it's kind of like the Gene Segura award of catchers, which is really hard to do. But like Danny Jansen is absolutely doing that. I think he's totally cuttable in 2 catcher leagues right now because he's doing absolutely nothing if there's better alternatives out there. And there were the last 2 weeks in Fab.
Yeah, it's been rough. And then like Gabby Moreno still has not barreled the ball yet.
Not great. Same with barrel season. It is not barrel season because Alec Burleson does not have a barrel yet either. Great K rate, but
he's a drop. He's not even a regular. Has sat the last 4 games for St. Louis. I think you can move along from him. It would be my 2 cents, but to each their own here. I guess one that's got some actual people are playing on a daily basis, so let's kind of take a look at is Anthony Santander. Santander, his striker rate's gone from 19% to 25%. Barrel rate's gone from 12 to 5%. Like you could live with the strikeouts of Santander. You got him because you wanted 30-plus home runs. He's at 28 or more in 3 straight seasons. He had 44 last season. He goes to Toronto, new team, of course, but we're seeing a 179 average to go with those 3 home runs right now. It's been an extremely, extremely slow start to the season for Anthony Santander, and that 5% barrel rate is way below his last 3 seasons of 10, 11.5, and 11.7. So where do you sit on the Santander situation? Is it a new contract, new place, trying to still figure things out, or is there level and reason for concern?
Probably both. Right. Like I don't think Anthony Santander, like this is probably just a slow start that if it was in August, we may not notice that much. But it's happening in April when all eyes are on him and the new contract, new country even. So you've got that. So I don't know. Yeah. It's only been 4 barrels all season for Anthony Santander, 3 homers on those 4. I think you just trust the 3-year. I mean, that's pretty much all you can do. I mean, trading leagues, you don't really want to sell for pennies on the dollar right now for Santander. I just think you trust the pretty elite power track record that Santander had leading up to this, and just assume/hope it catches up to that pretty soon. I think it will. I'm not super concerned about Santander with the early power slow start.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you too.
Pitching for Miami.
Yeah, I missed. It's a position player. I know that much. I can't tell who it is. But yeah, before this past week, he had hit in like 7 or 8 straight games. So he looked like he was starting to get going. Went deep on Sunday. So hopefully a sign of things to come for Santander. All right, let's check out the final board, Mr. Bloomfield. Let everybody know what we're looking at here.
All right, so I mentioned this. We've done entire shows on this as well, but again, this is now part of the kind of the live dashboard that we're looking at here. That's going to update daily for you. It's home runs versus barrels. It's kind of that ultimate, for at least for power, the result, right? Which is home runs. Are you getting results versus are you actually the skill? Are you hitting the ball hard? Are you barreling it up? Typically, league average, I've got it right here, is 64%. So kind of like what I said earlier, take your barrels divided by 2. Add a couple home runs to that, and that's roughly what you should get for home runs. There's a lot more nuance to this. There's every park plays differently with kind of where you hit within each park. Do you pull your barrels? Do you not? That sort of thing. But again, in the efforts of keeping these BloomBoards kind of simple to look at, to be the start of a deeper dive, kind of leaving the actual board itself to be somewhat bare bones. And we're just showing the number of homers, the number of barrels, and then the actual homer to barrel rate. Again, you've got your top 15 highest, and then you have your bottom 15 lowest. The general takeaway on this is you actually want to kind of target the guys that are the lowest.
Yes.
Right. Because you would think if someone like Salvador Perez, who only has 2 home runs this season, but has 14 barrels, that's somebody who the skill is there. He's hitting the ball hard. I mean, 14 barrels is a lot for in 1 month. To only have 2 home runs for that, like Salvador Perez deserves more. And again, I know he doesn't hit in the best park, that sort of thing. That does matter. But you actually want to kind of look at these fallers or these bottom 15 for barrels, homer to barrel, and almost kind of target those guys because the skills have been there, but the results haven't. And vice versa for the guys on the top of this list, like Steven Kwan, who has more home runs than barrels, which is actually very hard to do. So,
oh my goodness, Enrique Hernandez is pitching for the Dodgers, even up 13, so they don't have to use a bullpen arm. And he's wearing
a cutoff helmet.
Yeah, that's interesting.
What is he wearing?
Doesn't want to take a line drive to the dome. It's probably it's like a slow pitch softball people wear.
Doesn't want to wear his hat, his vulgar hat. You hear about that?
Yes. That was pretty good stuff, actually. That's pretty funny.
Covering that up.
Funny. Yep. All right. So on this list, I'm not really going to focus too much on the guys that are basically 100% or higher, because like you said,
yeah.
You expect regression.
It's early.
Like, yes, they're great. Like, yeah, hey, look, there's Matt Mervis. Maybe there is reason for concern. Or, yeah, Wilmer Flores, no doubt, he's not going to be that good. Stuff like that makes sense. Other guys, like I still think Andy Paz is good, so on and so forth. So pick your poison. To your point, down below, this is where things get interesting. Your boy Ty France, he was 2 homers and 11 barrels entering today, went deep, like we already said. So he's on all 3 boards, kind of checks the boxes to what you've been saying this whole time, checking these boards out. I want to go straight to the bottom, to Ryan Mountcastle. 1 home run on 9 barrels. There's been people ready to move on from Ryan Mountcastle in a lot of 12s, and it's been a discussion point. It's been bad. He's hitting a $1.98 entering tonight, $1.91 after his 0 for 4 tonight. But like strikeout rate's in line, the walk rate is in line, so the plate skills are there. 14% barrel rate, 50% hard hit rate. Like that's one thing that's kept me on Ryan Mountcastle. Looking at the quality of contact, is still pretty good. So where do you sit on Ryan Mountcastle? Because the other thing I'm going to mention now, which maybe we should have said earlier with some of these guys with the barrels and that stuff, cold as hell in April in a lot of places. So even if you hit the ball hard, you're not getting all the love. So as things heat up, I think some of these guys that continue to barrel the ball and the skill set still looks pretty good, they might have some big months ahead. Maybe. It's all speculating, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, one thing I think you want to look at with guys like Ryan Mountcastle, and again, start of a deeper dive with some of these guys. When we talked about this preseason, was like Ryan Mountcastle was very much going the other way. And if you're going opposite field with your power, it's not as conducive to results as if you pull your power. And it's actually interesting when you were talking about Mountcastle, I pulled up his pull percentage, career high pull percentage for Ryan Mountcastle, pulling the ball 45% of the time. That's like, to be pulling the ball that much, to have that many barrels and only 1 home run. That is very unfortunate to have 9 barrels, 1 home run, and pull it that much. So I see this turning around for Ryan Mountcastle. The problem is, does he have enough leash for it to turn around? I think that's the other thing you got to look at with these guys. It's like, how short is that playing time leash?
Very true.
So
that's a. I'm sorry, I just got distracted by Enrique Hernandez forgetting to cover first base on a ground ball at first. That's pretty good stuff. Yes, Mountcastle. I'm still in the hold mode, but like Kevin in the chat said, he dropped him into 12. Like I get it, I totally get it. I do believe there's very, very good reason for optimism though. At the same time, with Mountcastle, let's talk about JTR. This is another guy that I've been getting questions on in DMs and whatnot the last week or so because the production's been down. We've talked about it as well. Dude's hitting 236, 1 homer, 4 steals. So the steals is good to see from JTR, but a 29% K rate is the worst of his career right now. That's a bit concerning, but 10% walk rate's the best of his career. So you pick your poison there with JTR. And he's got the 11.7% barrel rate, the 45% hard hit rate. Are you? What's your concern level? I guess. Are you concerned with JTR? But he's on the list, and the production has been lacking.
0. It's full launch. It's JTR time, Bubba. 4 steals already. That was the biggest thing. I want to see how often JTR is running, and he is back. He's 4 for 4 on stolen bases so far. I think that is probably the biggest like early season indicator for JTR out there. Yes, the Ks are up a little bit. I'm not super concerned about that. Just the fact also that JTR is on this list. It just has 1 home run, sure, but the power has been there. So I think JTR is I think this is actually a good thing for JTR. I think we're going to have a pretty good season from my guy.
Would you rather have JTR or Sean Murphy rest of the season?
JTR.
Okay. That was a question I had in the DM, so I was curious about
JTR that. Or the Goose. Goose and Ramirez.
I want Goose.
Of course you do.
I want Goose. Yeah, I want Goose.
Absurd take.
No, I'm gonna stand my ground. You can't make me falter now, my friend. No faltering here. It's we're not having Goose for dinner, okay?
Dude, JTR the last 4 years, barrel's been right between 10-11%. That's right where it's at this year. He's running again. Dude, we're good, man. He's back. I love it.
Okay. We'll revisit this. Clip it.
Beer bet?
No.
Oh, come on, dude. Dude, you need to. Sure. You are down.
Sure.
You are down early. You need to make some moves.
Here's the beer bet from May 1st on. Let's finish the week. May 1st on.
Yeah. Not okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
May 1st on. Goose first, JTR.
First
put it on the sheet.
First, yep. I pulled up the sheet. In season. Yep. Man, so this in season thing I'm adding, it's right beneath the beer bet of who has the most innings this season, Robbie Ray or Nestor Cortez. So it's looking good.
Yeah, like you won that one, buddy. Congratulations.
Maybe. So starting May 1st, JTR versus Goose Ramirez. All right, we got it.
Fangraphs player rater.
All right. The fine print is in there. Fangraphs player rater.
All right. Next up, I want to discuss Willie Adamus. 1 homer on 6 barrels, did go deep on Tuesday night, which was a pleasant surprise because it's been a rough go here with Willie hitting 202. BABIP's down a bit, but like again, similar if you like your JTR thoughts, like 10% walk rate, 24% strikeout rate, like that's in line with things we've seen from Willie Adamus. The barrel rate is definitely down after 4 straight years of double digits, but a 42.4% hard hit rate, that's above the last couple of seasons with Willie Adamus. He's barely hitting the ball on the ground, like 36%. Like, okay, that's pretty much in the norm for Willie. So I have never been worried about Willie Adamus. I figure he's getting his feet wet, new place, new team, such. But where do you sit on Willie Adamus? Because there are people that are concerned with Mr. Willie.
Pretty much no change for me. If you drafted Adamus, I don't think you're worried. Like, yeah, you want a little bit of a better start, but had the second homer today. I think we're gonna be fine there. Nothing really stands out, and continuing to hit second every single day. So I like that too.
It's good to see Zach McKinstry on this list after talking about him the other day. Like, yeah, he continues to show up in places that look fantasy relevant to me. But anybody else you'd like to discuss on this list instead of me just picking a bunch of random guys to like Vlad on the list is actually really cool to see because I think we all know we were all high on him and we saw the year he put up last year. So the slow start kind of checks the boxes like, hey, maybe he's getting a slight bit unlucky on this one.
Yep, agreed. Not zero worry at all about Vlad.
Yeah.
Went deep tonight. Zero worry, but it's nice to see Manny Machado. I'm kind of focusing on the guys who have double-digit barrels so far this year. Manny Machado has 2 home runs to 11 barrels. I think he's going to be fine. I mentioned Sal Perez earlier. About Oldschmidt, 1 home run, but he's hit batting averages.
Average.
Yeah, through the roof. But this just shows like I wouldn't be too worried about just the 1 home run. The hard contact for Goldschmidt has been there. So that's looking good as well. These guys who have like they're technically a 20% homer to barrel again. It's just early in the season. Like Joey Bart, McKinstry, Miguel Vargas, Ryan Jeffers, like only 5 barrels on the season. You kind of want to see a little bit more than that. Yes, they've been potentially a little unlucky, but like 1 more home run, they're off this list. 40% homer to barrels. So try not to look at them too much. That stuff will flesh out as we kind of get further into the season, probably through May.
I concur, my friend. All right. Well, that was fun. Checking out 3 different hitting bloom boards. Like you said, we'll do pitching coming up here down the road. But let's get to some listener questions. We got some Discord listener questions that pretty much, for the most part, based on said boards that we mentioned. So let me navigate to the minefields here real quick. That's the wrong set of questions. Episode questions. That's the one I want. All right. Aaron Gifts says, is there a chance Trevino is good enough to steal more playing time than we thought from Stevenson once he returns? If you roster both of them, do you hold Trevino for a bit with Stevenson's return? So I'll let you have the floor first, since I have a ton of shares of Stevenson.
Okay, so I'll just some context behind Aaron's question is Jose Trevino shows up as one of the more skilled hitters, under 50% rostered in 12 teamers, only 9% in online championships on the NFBC, with a really good strikeout rate, right? 10% K rate, not a total 0 in power, 5% barrels. He's not running. So that's kind of where the question, I assume, comes from with Aaron. You've got a better handle on the playing time side of it than I do. I think when Stevenson comes back, he's primary, and then Trevino is, I think, cuttable, but I could be wrong.
Yes, that is the answer I'll be going with.
Okay, thought you were saying yes, you are wrong.
No. No. I can be an ass sometimes, but I wasn't going to be like, this is not the time to do it.
Hey, at least I got his team right.
Yeah, well done. Stevenson, and the crazy part is Austin Wynns is crushing the ball right now. So
I know.
A crew of catchers. Stevenson should, on paper, play 75% or more of the games between DH and catcher. Trevino's been very serviceable, but like, it's kind of an empty stat line. I dropped him for Carson Kelly a few weeks ago. I've dropped him for Edgar Caro a few weeks ago. Like, he's been productive, and he looks good on this sheet. But it's another reason, like, let's dig in. What does the 10% K rate and everything show? It's good, but it's like, okay, is there other options that have higher fantasy ceilings? Yes. And Stevenson's that guy. You do not need to have a bench spot saved for Trevino. Like, I think if that comes to backfire, I sleep well at night still knowing I made that decision.
Exactly. I almost, to take that even further, like I think any non-primary catcher, I don't think is rosterable outside of the Cubs, outside of Amaya and like Carson Kelly. If you're not the primary guy, you either got to be like really, really good, or you're just not playing enough.
Yep. So completely agree with you on that one. All right. Steve Stoughton says, each of you give 2 buys and 2 sells from the BloomBoard. That's interesting.
Pull it back up. Do you have it up?
Yeah, I got it up. 2 buys. I would buy Ryan Mountcastle. I'm very, very much on board with that situation. I would honestly, I don't know how high the ceiling is, but I would buy Andrew Vaughn, because I do like what we saw looking into that one.
Okay. I would. It's funny because you can buy low, you can buy high, because you're buying high on some of these guys who, like a Jorge Polanco, while he's healthy. Yeah. I think that's a good buy high, because he is the number 1 most improved from a skill standpoint hitter from last year. So I will say Jorge Polanco, while healthy, I am buying high on. A buy low, I don't even know if it's low, but I'll do JTR, but I will also say Salvador Perez. I think he turns things around quite quickly.
If we're gonna do a third real quick, to your buy high comment, I'd buy high on Spencer Torkelson. I think it's real. Okay. Like, I really do. I think that's one of those. I was thinking earlier today, like we're spending all this Nick Kurtz money and all this. We're talking about how bad corners are, and little did we know in week 1, Torkelson and Ben Rice were sitting there for the pickings, and they've been pretty freaking amazing this whole time, and that's kind of frustrating, all hindsight and all. Who are 2 sells for you on these lists?
Oh, sells. I will say
Ty France.
Hell no, man. Kyron Paris, not Ty France. We'll go with the other Frenchman.
He's not on the list. Okay,
I know
he's
not even on the
list.
list.
Mediocre, basically, is what that means. He's mediocre.
Wait till we get to that last 30 days territory of the season.
Don't want to look.
On there.
It's been bad. It's been bad. I completely admit it. Talked about it. I actually dropped him in a league last week. It's okay. We're good.
I may actually so a sell high. I don't even know if this is a sell high, but just like maybe cut while high is Matt Mervis. Strikeout rate's huge, but he is on this homer. He has more homers than barrels, so that's rough. Another
200.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because the K rate is just so high that it's a sell low for me would be. I'm going to look at the strikeout and barrel rate decliners from last season. A sell low would be Michael Toglia and Alec Burleson. So those 2 out there.
Toglia is a definite sell. I don't mind Burles, but yeah, Mervis dropped him most places this way. I'm going to stick to my guns. You can sell Max Muncy, guys. Like, it's platoon's coming. It's not going to be worth it. Like, just stop with the charade. It's fun. It's cool. You can sell and sell Toglia. 100% with you on that one. All righty, let's see what else. Ryan, did you see Hulk Hogan's Heroes Harris is back in the MLB? Yep, he was called up the other day. Yes,
Hogan Harris. He pitched tonight, I believe.
He pitched out of the bullpen tonight. Yep,
the shit show that was the Rangers game.
Yep, you're stacked, baby.
Hollywood Hogan.
Speaking of Michael C, he's got a question for us. Other than Goldie, who are you not buying as a rebound from the red fallers list? For example, Jock, Willie, Mountie are worrisome. I'm not buying Michael Toglia.
Yeah, I am also not buying. God. On the red list that won't bounce back. So I'm going to look at the homer to barrels, the guys who have a good number of barrels, but not many homers. Who am I not buying? I will go. I'll go Miguel Vargas.
I was going to say it's either McKinstry or Vargas. McKinstry at least makes contact. So it's harder to cross him out.
Yeah, so I'll go Miguel Vargas, who's a homer to barrel lagger. But again, it's just 1 home run on 5 barrels, and everything else around Miguel Vargas outside of his prospect pedigree is not there, including the team context.
I guess if I want another kind of layup, I'd say go in order the skills risers and fallers board. I'd say Danny Jansen. That is not happening.
Yep,
that's a lost cause right about now.
Yep.
Corbin Young, our buddy. It's not a Mitch Keller question, so everybody listen close. How surprised are you to? By the way, I shouted out on Twitter. Corbin does like most nights when he has time because he is a dad also and he's busy, and he works out like a madman. He's a teacher, all that kind of stuff. He does it like a little threads of some starting pitching stuff. It's really good stuff because he makes it make sense for even dummies like me. It's very cool stuff because usually like IVB and all that stuff fits me way out the window. He puts charts in there, so it's really good if you just want a quick synopsis of how certain pitchers did from the night before. So go check that out.
Full endorse as well. Yep.
But Corbin says, how surprised are you to find 4 Mariners hitters on the skill risers? Yep, nailed it. I agree, Corbin.
Beautiful. I did not see this coming at all, especially because like none of them are Julio Rodriguez, Randy Arozarena. Like
I think we need to
Mariners. It's the mid Mariners. They're hitting, man. They are hitting. Yeah, we got to go back to that WRC plus thing I have on there.
It's a good point. It's a good point, friend. It's a good point.
Maybe they changed something with the batting eye. I don't know, but a lot of their stuff has been on the road, so we'll see next time.
Let's temper it for just a little bit longer with those boys. B. Welch says, are any of these particularly barrels per home run seemingly tied to pushing barrels or park factors?
Yeah. Yes, both. So I may still try and add something about a pull rate on these just because I forget the exact stats, but yeah, it would be nice to have something like that on there. I just want to toe that fine line of adding more information, but not making it consumable. So that's always tricky for me when I'm doing this stuff, because I can add whatever the hell I want to. But once you have 100 columns in a spreadsheet, it's like, what am I looking at? But yes, pull rate is a big thing. Barrels that are pulled have much better results than barrels that are hit the opposite field. And then home park, absolutely. And actually on the teams tab of these live BloomBoards, there is a column for each team what their home park home run to barrel rate is cool this season as well. So you can kind of at least marry this up with each team's home park. So for example, Salvador Perez, who we just talked about, I forget the exact, very much on high number of barrels, not many home runs. Kauffman Stadium is a 36% homer to barrel rate as a stadium, which is deep red on our sheet, which is bad, which makes it a tough place for barrels to become home runs. So that's a very good point by Mr. Welch.
Most definitely. And then on the last question here, I assume the check is already in the mail, but Andy Splinter says, so you're saying Ty France could be even better with a normal home run per barrel?
Dude, I got to get a little French flag down here. Start waving it every time. I could lean into it, man. Eat like a baguette on the show, wear one of those.
Start smoking cigarettes indoors too?
I may do that anyway after Logan Gilbert news. I think I did that on Friday.
If Ryan came back on the show Friday night after the kids were in bed, he'd be in his basement, chain smoking heaters, and just a bottle of Jack in his hand, playing with a handful. No, sorry, I'll stop right there. But yes.
I'm not going to confirm nor deny any of this.
All right. Well, that was good stuff. I always love the BloomBoards. I appreciate the BloomBoards. I hope the listeners do as well, because they're obviously very, very useful. Great starting points. Kind of sometimes reassuring things. Sometimes like going, oh crap, maybe I need to be unreassured, if that makes sense. Just probably a better word for that, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like, it's just definitely makes you think more without having to go page by player page. It kind of puts it all into picture for you pretty quickly. So final thoughts, Ryan, before we head out of here on another really cool Tuesday BloomBoard episode.
Yeah, I know it's a lot of numbers and charts or whatever in the spreadsheet. If anyone has any questions about any of this stuff, just let me know how to interpret it, whatever. Let me know. And yeah, I think kind of what I envision with these is, again, folks on the Patreon have access to this. If you go in once a week or something, spend half hour looking at a couple tabs, start to kind of build a free agent list or whatever, just keep tabs on some of your players who are on there. I think that's probably the best way to use this, is to just kind of check in periodically. It just kind of keep your thumb on the pulse of who's trending up and down. I think once we get into May, June, I lose track of who's been good and not good recently. So we will dive a little bit more into kind of the last month tabs that I have on there. But yeah, just check it out as much as you can or want to. It's available to you guys. So appreciate it.
It's available at patreon.com/Bubba Bloom for anybody curious about that. But yeah, we'll wrap it up there. We'll be back with you guys Thursday night for the weekly Fab preview. Week 7 Fab coming your way, which I don't think is going to be as exciting as Week 6. Just going to throw that out there. Might be a lot of closures getting dropped, as during the show, Stephen Vogt's post-conference flat out said, Emmanuel Clase is our closer. So there goes that.
Yeah,
so,
got the quote.
Literally 2 days, legit quote. Like 2 days. 2 days. Didn't even make it 48 hours before that implosion.
Who fabbed Cade Smith this week? Who's with me?
Yeah. So just get ready, folks. This is a long season, folks. But yeah, we'll get back with you guys Thursday with some Fab and see where everything goes. But until then, check out Ryan on Twitter at RyanBHQ, the podcast at Bubba Bloom Pod. I'm at BDentric, and this is Bubba and the Bloom, episode 238. Catch you all next time.